All right, can you guys see CTU homepage?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
Alrighty, great, it worked. That's always positive. Okay, so we're just gonna go to the library here and we're gonna play around. I'm just gonna show you guys that first. This up here is the multiple databases, searching the multiple databases at one time. Now this is the best place to get started, but then I'll show you after you do this, if you're not finding exactly what you look for, then you can actually go to an individual database. And then I was going to show you the benefit of using the individual database versus the multiple databases. And you may end up finding a lot of the same articles. I recommend starting with your keyword rather than the author or the title, unless you're looking for something very specific. For example, let's say maybe you did read something from a Google search on, maybe you read like a blog article or blog post, or maybe something else. Maybe you question the credibility of what you read. However, they often list resources that could be of value to you. So that's why I don't always discredit that first Google search, because maybe you did find something that leads you to something else. And maybe you want to try to find that article that they referenced in the library. So that's another thing you could try. Okay, so what did we have? Staffing, we could try. So Matthew, right? You have the staffing shortage?
Yes.
Okay, and then are you looking specifically at hospitals?
I think so, because that's where I've worked.
Okay.
So it'd probably be better.
Okay, so let's just throw this in here. I had an alternative. I had the pros and cons of telemedicine, but since you guys had topics to work with, let's see how this works. So let's do hospital. I'm going to do and staffing shortage. Let's see what we come up with. Okay, so our keyword search, let's see what we get. So we have a lot of results. This is a lot. So we have 89,372 results. So what you could do, and maybe you start reading through these hospitals' responses to nurse staffing shortage. So what are they doing? Short-term, long-term strategies. Responses to nurse staffing shortages, hospitals, looking at what specific hospitals have done. And some of these are very current: quarantine, health workers, compound staffing shortage. So some of these look really good just from the start, but you have a lot. So what you could do is you could also just go and look just at journal articles, because you might want to eliminate maybe some of the newspaper articles. Those may not be academic enough. The journal articles, then that really narrowed down your search. So, and this is really just our first shot at this, really revealed a lot. And maybe some of these aren't relevant as you go through, but there's a lot. Staffing shortages hit hospitals. It's a little old though, 2001. So you want to try to stick with recent. I think you can also, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was thinking maybe I could even do I'm from California, maybe just do California also, or
yeah.
I was even thinking my hospital network. Yeah, I work at Kaiser. I don't think a lot will be there in terms of journal articles, but maybe.
Yeah. And then you could even add, so if you want to do just California, you could even add California to your keyword search, but we already saw a lot of articles in there. And you could also, on the left, you can use the other filters like last 3 years to make it pretty current, last 5 years to make it pretty current. So some of these are a little old, but some of the newer ones like the 2020, those are all good. And I'll go over more of like the time period of what to stick with. And I've had students ask, can I use sources that are from out of the United States? Like I found a really good article, but it was published in a different country. Can I use that? And the answer is absolutely. If it's relevant to, you're using it as an example for something in the United States, any sort of information from out of the country published out of the United States is fine. So this kind of shows you the first way of doing it. Now I'm going to go back, and you can also do more advanced searches here. You can filter by publication date, You can filter by language and source type over here. So there's a lot that you can do to filter out if you're getting like too much. Let's see if I can go back here. Doesn't like that. Okay, so one other way of doing this is to scroll down to search an individual database, and I'll show you why I like this. You're probably going to find a lot of the same articles that you already found from the multiple database search, but if you go down to alphabetically, there's a health resource, ProQuest, which is great, and then a health source, the EBSCO, which is also great. So like just for an example, when I click on health resources, this is going to narrow your search even further because it's only searching the health database. And what I like about this is that you can check peer reviewed. So you find only the peer reviewed. And look, this has the Boolean search for you. So that I showed you is right there. That's the Boolean search, but it's going to do it for you. So let's do staffing shortage. Oh, we put hospital, didn't we? We can try California. Let's see what happens. So I have peer reviewed, limit to full text. We can limit to source type. Let's just try the journals, maybe some newspapers. Let's try that. So it looks like there's 20. So not bad. I think some of these we already found. So here you can just kind of look to see what you found: minimum staffing ratios, minimum nurse to patient ratios, and this is all California. Mandated nurse staffing ratios. So there's some things to look at, but I narrowed it down to the peer review. And this obviously has a much smaller search result than when you did the multi-database. But what I like about doing it this way is it gives you that option to search for the peer reviewed. I believe you can also do that in the other one. You just have to go through it and do the filters. So hopefully this helps. Questions?
That's really helpful. Thank you. Because my last class, I was not really narrowing it down by peer reviewed, journal, all of that. So I was getting kind of too much, actually.
Too much, yeah. And again, the peer reviewed will definitely. We don't have a requirement for peer reviewed, but I recommend the peer reviewed just because that means it's been examined by a panel of peers, of experts, and even if they don't necessarily agree with the thesis of it, if they find it to be accurate, generally accurate, they will approve it, which I always found interesting because I didn't realize that. So they could actually disagree with it, but they're an expert, so there's enough in there that they find is accurate that they'll, it gets the approval. Okay, so good. I'm glad that was helpful. Just a little look at that, and hopefully this will help you with finding some relevant material.